Hi guys, thanks for tuning into my new episode. Firstly, I just want to apologise for the gap between the last episode and this one. I have actually tried making this episode about 4 or 5 times now. I think this is my 5th time. I just kept running into a bunch of bugs, and I've been working with the developer of the Quest add-on to work through those, so we can get out this demo for you guys and show you how to use the add-on. Since then, the add-on has actually come onto the Unity asset store, so now you can buy it through there, and pretty soon it's going to be updated with all of the bug fixes that we came across. Anyway, with this episode I hope I'll be able to show you how to put in just the basic quest system so that we can get some quests going for the character in our test environment. One other thing I wanted to bring up though was I've actually opened up a new Twitter page. This way I can actually give you guys updates on what's going on if I'm going to be late with an episode or if I'm working on something. You can also talk and interact with me too, so if you've got questions there, it's just a little bit faster, and this way if I am again having trouble with making a new episode, or if I'm coming across bugs, I'll let you guys know through here. I've only just made it just the other day, so I haven't actually got any followers or anything yet because I haven't promoted it, but yeah, jump on there and add me to whatever your feeds are. I don't really know how Twitter works, so that's my fault, too bad. Yeah, just jump on there and I can keep you guys up to date. Some of the other stuff that I've done in the meantime though, there's been an update for the Invector template, which I've added on here. I did try to make a video of it yesterday, but I managed to not have the audio switched on. So in the future, I'll when they bring out another update, I'll be able to show you guys how to update safely without modifying any of the stuff in your project. For now though, there are only minor fixes, so you can just stick with the whatever one you had installed if you were following along already. One of the other things I wanted to bring up too is there are a couple of new tools that I've thrown in here. This one here is the low poly shaders. It's actually free. It's by Invector. You can find it on the Unity asset store. It gives you a couple of shader options for using low poly stuff. So you've got the PBR version here, which is a little bit darker and yeah, and it looks quite nice, but the unlit version here actually comes up in a real sort of toony style. It's actually quite nice. The reason I'm using these is because they're actually, I don't really have any low poly shaders other than what's come with some of the assets, and because they're a little bit, all over the place, yeah, some of them don't quite match with some of the other ones. This here is actually just vertex lighting, so as it's just got here is the explanation, it's lighting it via the vertex rather than the every pixel, so it just saves on a bit of processing power, and it actually comes up quite nice. I'll show you what it looks like shortly. The other one that I'm actually using as well is flat terrain. That's another shader that I got a little while ago. I think I did have it in my list of stuff I was going to use, but I've actually put it into play now. It's quite cheap on the asset store. What it does is it changes your terrain from being a regular sort of smooth terrain with soft edges to your textures, and then turns it into, or shades it into, a low poly thing. So this matches our low poly style. This is only if you're going for low poly. You don't actually need it for everything else, but of course, yeah, it does come up quite nice, and I do like what it does with the edges. And after I put on that previous low poly shader, it actually matches a lot of the stuff, a lot of the scenery that I'm putting in. Yeah, there are a couple of little drawbacks with it that I've found while using it, and it is, I think, when was the last time it was updated? So yeah, mid last year was when it was updated last, but I mean, it works and it does what it needs to do, so that's good. Yeah, so if you're interested, you can grab that one on there. That's just showing you what I've got currently on my project. So I can show you what's there now. If we jump into the scene, so you can see how different the scene looks now. I've given it a little bit of texture. If I click on the terrain, come across here, so these two textures, I've actually just drawn them myself. It's a 16 by 16 pixel image, and it's literally just one colour throughout, and it gives me that flat colour. And I'll show you what that flat terrain script does. So you can actually, when you normally paint, so you've got this sort of soft texture. When you come along here, you can draw in there and see how it comes off nice and soft. You can set it to hard texture edges, so now it looks like that, which fits more of the low poly style, because obviously you're not going to have that sort of thing. I don't know why it's trying to show the brush along that stuff. It shouldn't. Anyway, yeah, so that's how we do that one there. The rim lighting as well, you can turn that off, so it's just the normal lighting. I'm going to turn it on, and the rim value here, that way it just keeps that nice sort of edge. One of the problems that I find though with it is, if we get into an asset here And what do I want to put in? What's something nice? Yeah, we'll just go here, buildings. We're going to put in a fence. These are just for the purposes of that. What I've noticed is that when I have played before, it doesn't seem to be happening now, but it used to happen quite a bit, and it's... Oh yeah, you can still see it. You can actually see there's a bit of ghosting under the post. If you have a look at the post closest to me, I can see through the ground, and I can see that item when I look up there, which is a bit strange, but it is to do with the way that the shaders are working. I don't think I'll try and fix that. I might be able to get in touch with the guy who makes the shader and see if there's anything that can be done about it, but as it is, it hasn't been updated in a long time, so I don't know how supported it is, but it does give that really cool effect. Might be other assets out there that can give this effect as well and don't have that. Feel free to shop around. I just had that one on hand, so I think it was quite cool. Anyway, let's delete that from the list now. What else need to be done? Oh, actually I need to adjust the lighting. Where is my directional light? So I'm actually going to turn that up now so everything looks a lot brighter. Yeah, low poly unlit shader was the one that I'd selected, so from my shaded list, low poly shaders was what's downloaded. You've got the PBR version, which will give you this kind of look, which is actually quite nice in itself, and it does allow you to have the reflective lights, things like that. But with... I mean, it's up to you what kind of art aesthetic. I'm going with this one here, because when I play it, and I'll pop that into full screen, yeah, so you can see my character's all that very sort of toony style. There's no real hard edges, so they can sort of blend in. It actually works better with this kind of UI that I've got, the art graphics on that. Bonk. And again, yeah, we have to adjust those animations. Yeah, raucous noise, blah blah blah. And when we come inside, everything looks nice and bright except for the floors and the walls. I mean, I might switch them out for something brighter. They're more dungeon walls, I guess. But yeah, but I mean, this looks quite cool. I actually do quite like the toony look of this, so I think I'll stick with this until I change my mind again later on. But again, this is just switching a shader over, so it's really not that hard to do. Yeah. Just got to do it for all the things, but yeah, as I say, like it looks nice. It matches the scenery around, so I'm happy with that. All right, now here's let's get into what you actually want to get from this episode, which is putting in the quest pack. So I've already installed it. You can follow on one of my videos there about how to install it. I'm just going to do it quickly. I'm not going to go through. Well, actually, no, I'll show you this. So the PDF document actually has an explanation of how to set it all up. I followed along with it, and I hit a couple of bugs, and I hit a couple of things that I felt sort of threw me on the wrong path. It is very well written, and everything's as it should be, but there was one part that I kept getting wrong that I've asked them to actually rejig the structure of the PDF, so it makes it a bit easier for people like me that are trying to put things together. But anyway, setting up the quest system. So you need to create what's called the new quest list data. Now, this is one of the bugs that I hit in the first place that was causing me a whole lot of grief, and I thought I'd figured out what was wrong with it, but I didn't. But I got in touch with the guy that made it, and we were able to walk through it and figure out what was going on. So when you install the RPG pack, you come here with a demo scene system, and it'll have prefabs, it'll have all sorts of things in there, but it'll also have in this folder quest list data. So what happens in here is there's actually going to be a little file called quest list data or quests, and that there has like a built-in quests for the demo scene. What you need to do is, I mean, once you've had to play around with that demo scene and figured out how it all works and everything like that, you just need to delete that file, because that file will actually interfere with a new file that you're going to make for your quest game. You can always modify that file instead and just use that, but I prefer to delete it and start from scratch, so I can take you through this step by step. One of the other things we need to do too is we need to actually open up the demo scene, which is this one here, demo scene 1. Now I'm just going to save that because I don't want to lose out and have it die on me again. As you can see, I've already pulled these out here, but I'm just going to show you where they are, because we need to grab a few things from this scene in order to make it work. So one of the things that you really want to look at is you want to look at the melee controller that they've got, just so you can see what's listed on this controller. So when you're building your own, you can figure out what scripts you need to put on it and how they're set up. But the main thing we want to grab from now would be, if you want to start doing all your stats and things like that, grab the trend holder, turn that into a thing. So modified resources folder, I've put in a new folder there called quest files, and this allows me to basically, I would drag the items that I need to pull from this demo scene, I'd put it in here, just so you've got it separate to the main package in case you want to write over the package or whatever. Keep it in this folder, and then you know that these are the ones that you're working with rather than the ones for the demo scene. What we want to find is we want to come up to the UI here, and if you have a look, so you've got the HUD, you've got a logo, which is a fun little thing for the demo scene, but the things that you wouldn't have in your normal scene are the item collection display, quest HUD, and XP HUD. So you want to drag those into your quest files folder. I'm just going to delete these. Yep, that's fine. So we're going to go item collection display, quest HUD, and XP HUD. These actually do come as prefabs in one of the RPG packs you can actually grab from in here, but I wouldn't use these ones here because they might not pop up on the canvas properly. It's something to do with the way prefabs work. It can cause issues, but if you've dragged it from in here already, you can drag that straight into your quest files folder, and they'll be ready to go into the new scene that we're setting up. Other than that, we don't need that one. I mean, I like to grab things like, we've got the spawner here, so I can put that down into here, and we just have that as a demonstration piece, so we can see how it's built each time. And the same as things like Lair of the Wolves. This is a trigger script and a discover quest target. I'm going to leave all that for now. I think I can actually make that stuff from scratch. I'll show you how to make that from scratch in the new scene that we've got going. Now what I will do is we need to go back to our test scene. So now that we've dragged those across, they're the main ones that we need to put into our new scene. Now we've got that, I'm going to open up the test again. I'm not going to save that time because that's just a demo scene. I don't need to override anything in it. Alright, so what we need to do now is to get our quest system going, we need to build this new quest list data. So in order to do that, we come up to here to the Invector menu. We go to quests, and then on the bottom one we've got create new quest list data. So we click on that, and that's actually going to make this file here, the quest list data file, in the top folder called assets. So once we've made that, the first thing I want to do is actually just in the hierarchy here, open up my modified resources, and we've got quest files. I want to click and drag that into the quest files folder, just so that I keep it so I know exactly where it is. Next we want to go to edit quests in list. As you can see now, it's brought up this new window for the quest list, and we can create a new quest. So we click on that, and now we've got a new quest. If you remember from the story that I told in the previous ones, the quick story that I made up, and I hope I still have that map. I probably don't have that map, but I'll have to make a new one, that's fine. So the quest name, we want to, basically we've arrived in the town, and we're tired, so we want to go to the inn and see what's going on there. So what I'm aiming on doing here is I can actually set up a tutorial quest system, so one that basically starts from when you start the game, rather than having to go up to an NPC learning about something and grabbing a quest. I want one that's actually going to start with the character, just to give them guidance of the first thing that they need to do. So the quest name here is going to be New in Town. And this one's going to be a discovery quest because I want to actually guide the player to the inn that they need to go to. Of course, it's within their view range, it's like 5 meters away from them, but that's just because it's a demo scene, like a test scene. Anyway, so we're going to set that to a discover quest. So the discover quest allows you to set up quests where you just need to travel somewhere, or you need to find a place. So gather is where you need to find items and collect those items, but discover is where you need to find a place or a location. So I'm going to switch it to discover, and now you can see it's changed some of the stuff in here. The quest provider, the quest state, we're going to leave that as not started because that's just, your default state for quests before you get them. So we don't need to change any of that. and we don't need to worry about any of this for now. Quest provider, that's another one. We're not actually going to use a quest provider, so that's like when you're talking to an NPC and they give you a quest and that, but we're not using that for this one because this one's just going to be spawned in the game world, and the player will start off with it. So the objective, we want to go, the objective of this is to enter the inn. And then in the description we've got, you've just arrived in town and you need a place to rest. There we go, cool. Now the next one here, we got icons and sprites. So this is actually the quest icon. So when it's in the menu, when you see, which you'll see shortly, when there's the quest list, it'll have a picture next to it. So you can set that up for each of your things. If you want to have, say, like each type of quest you want to have with its own sprite thing, so that it's recognisable in the quest list as that's a kill quest or that's a discover quest. You can set it up like that. For now, I just need sort of this. Just really anything, so let's just have a look. I'm just going to put the change icon. I don't really have any icons set up for that. There is going to be an episode where I show you how to use the icon creator tool that's really great for batch creating icons, and I'll be playing around that with trying to set up our UI for some new icons for quests and things. Alright, so that's the icon. Now the attributes. So we need to set this quest up, and these attributes are specifically towards the way we're going to set up this particular quest. So this is a discover quest. So the way the quest system works is that you'll have a set of objectives that you need to achieve in order to complete the quest. So what would normally happen with other quests is that you would get a quest from an NPC who tell you to go and collect things, and then you need to go and collect those things, and then you need to bring those things back to the quest provider, which is the person we got the quest off, and then hand in the quest to get the reward and complete that quest line. The thing is, though, you might have a quest where, like, such as, say, the discovery quests here, where you have to travel to a location. Now, it doesn't make sense to have a quest to travel to a location and have to go all the way there and then all the way back to the person that told you to go there to get the quest. So we want it to be able to actually complete this, complete the quest and give you the reward as soon as you discover the location. So in order to do that, we need to add an attribute here. We need to call it, the autocomplete. And as you see, there's a little checkbox. So autocomplete means that the quest will automatically complete itself and give out the reward once you've reached the objective. And the objective is to basically the objective target in this sense. And as we've got enter the inn is the name of our objective. This is just what we've written, but in the game world there'll actually be a trigger object that will trigger off, and once that trigger has flicked, so once you've triggered the trigger, it will automatically complete the quest and update it, so you don't need to return anywhere to hand a reward in or hand a quest in. So we're just going to click add, and that will give us that attribute there, autocomplete. Now, because of the way we're going to set this up, and I'll explain this again later, but for now just follow along with me. We need to add another attribute. We need to add a couple. This one here, force start on accept. So we're going to check that box again. I'm going to click add, because what's going to happen is I need this quest to automatically set up as the main quest once the player starts the game. With the new version, there's a bit of a problem with having the player start with a quest because it doesn't automatically set it as its main quest or automatically accept the quest. So we need to set up a special little trigger that's been added in with a new RPG pack in order to force that quest on a player via collision with a trigger. And I'll show you how to set that up later, but just as one of the attributes, we need to have this force start on accept so that it actually starts the quest once the quest has been given to the player. Explain that again later when I show you the other trigger stuff. And another one that we need to do as well is experience gained. So this here is a value, so I'm just going to put 5. So you get 5 EXP once you complete the quest. So this here was meant to be in the previous version of the RPG pack, but it looks like it was overlooked. So in the new version, it's been added back in, and this allows you, for when you're doing all the leveling and stuff, you can actually set each quest and each sub quest to have an amount of experience that you gain as a reward from that quest. Which is really good, and you see even in The Witcher, when it's got some of the sub quests of the other quests, you actually earn experience points for them, and you can level up in the middle of a quest, which is great. Yeah, so just those 3 attributes for the moment. I don't believe we need anything else. This is just a basic discovery quest, so it doesn't really need any extra bonus things just yet. So now we come down here for the custom settings, the secondary quest list data and dependency quest list. Just ignore those for now. Therefore, if you've got like a quest chain, so maybe you've got like one main quest, which is like, kill 5 enemies and bring me the keycards, which you'll actually see in the demo scene is set up. And then from that main quest, you'll have one quest which is kill the 5 enemies, and then another quest which is a gather quest for the 5 keycards. So there's 3 quests, but 2 of them are the children quest of that main overarching thing that you need to complete. So it's how you set up your different objectives, basically. With if you have one big quest that has several objectives to complete, that's the way you set it up, and then you use these. We'll explain that later on when we actually go and make one of those quests, and I'll show you how to do that. For now, the component filter, again, don't have to worry about any of that. What we do need to worry about is the reward item list data. So this is one of the ones that needs to be the same item list that you use for everything else, including the inventory manager. So I'm just going to click on that there, going to click on assets, and we're using the shooter melee item list data. That's the one that we're using that will hold all of the items in our game. You can set up different lists, especially if you're using vendors and things like that. You want to set up a different list so that it makes it easier to navigate, but it can cause a little bit of confusion with some of the other background scripts when it's trying to read from one item list and then it gives you another item list item because of whatever reason. So always good just to use the one massive list. It's a bit of a problem for my game because I'm going to end up having about 1,500 or more items, so it's going to be a lot of work and very hard to navigate. But for now, for this demonstration purpose, we're just going to stick with the same list as everything. Now in the reward filter, so we can actually use that list there to come up with a reward. I don't have any currency set up. I do have shooter stuff, and well, we've got the melee weapon, we've got the sword that we already have, but we'll just go with the consumable now. We'll add an item, just a health potion. This helps us know that we've got the different reward. We've got the experience gain, we've got 5 points, and we've got a potion. So once we receive these, we'll know that the quest is completed and has actually worked properly. So that's a good way to keep track of that. So once we've done that, that is pretty much all of the settings we need for that quest. So we click on create, and now we've got our first quest, which is the new in town, and it's a discovery quest. So we're just going to close that down now. So the next thing we need to do is we need to actually set up our player controller in order to take the quests. So if we scroll down here, I just want to make sure that I've actually removed... Yep, cool, I've removed all of the quest stuff because I've already set this character up and I've had to undo it so I can show you guys this video from scratch. So what we need to do is the first thing we need to add is the quest manager. So we're going to type in quest manager. So that's our quest manager script, and as you can see there's a few things on there. Start quest on accept, go to the next question list. I'm just going to tick that one there, don't worry too much about that. Now inventory prefab. So this here is, there's actually one that comes with the RPG pack that we're going to use. So we need to type in the search field here, quest inventory, and as you can see it's going to pop up with this one. Just drag that into the slot there. Now the quest list data, that one there is the quest file that we've made over here, which is this one, and this one has our special quest in it. If we click on show quest in hierarchy, you can see there we've got the new in town quest that adds on there. So we need to click on here, we've got to scroll down a bit, and just click the quest list data, drag it into there. So this quest list data will basically hold all of the quests in your game, and because all of the quests are going to be completed by the player, we need to make sure that that player has all the quests on this single data file. Now the item manager, that's actually the one that we're using on the player controller here. So to click that and chuck that in there, and there we go, we're ready to go. Now the quests filter here, so these are the starting quests. Now before it used to be that you could actually put a quest in there. So we've got a discovery quest, you can add quests, and then when the player starts the game they'll have that, but at the moment that's not functioning as it's advertised, but there is a way around that we've got for starting the game, and I'll show you how to do that shortly. The next thing I want to add on here is actually the level system. So I'm going to go level manager, v level manager. So we put that on there, And as you can see, there's a base XP and maximum level, so I'm just going to type in 210, update stats with level up. I'm going to leave that right now. Yeah, going to leave that for now. I'll show you how to do that later when we pull the trends off of the demo scene, and we just go with those ones. And that gives you the thing where basically when you level up you get more powerful. But for now we just want it in there to make sure that we can get EXP, and that works fine. The next thing we want to do as well, so we're going to go here, we're going to have the UI, and we're going to add in these different HUD pieces. So we need to make sure that we've got all of them in there so that we can continue on. I'm actually just going to hide the quests from that one so it's no longer like in there. So I'm going to drag the EXP HUD, and I want to actually drag it as a child object of the VUI, because you'll see when I come up here it's going to add it to the canvas and it's going to automatically put it where it needs to go. So now I'm going to get the quest HUD, I'm going to do the same thing, drag it as a child object, and you can see it's placing it there. And then this item collection, I'm also going to place that as a child object there. And now this should actually conform to the HUD that's there as it was set up in the thing. If you find that it's being placed somewhere else, there's something going wrong with it, and I'd suggest deleting it and trying to redo the prefab from the demo scene again. And then yeah, you're putting it in. But it should be, if you've dragged it from the demo scene into a prefab and then put it back in into this scene, it should work okay. Alright, so now we've got those two things, that's our HUD set up. It's not going to do anything until we actually have a quest to go to. The first thing I'm going to do though is I'm actually going to put the quest target before I start putting in the quest trigger. So I'm going to click here on my little particle effect. So you see I've got the story trigger set up. If you remember from one of the early videos or even earlier in this video, once you run into this thing, it pops up with a little window, it locks my input, and it gives me a little spiel about the place. That was something cool that I wanted to do, but I'm actually going to use this same trigger to trigger off the target for the discovery quest. So here I've got a trigger generic action, and this is what I'm using for locking the input and letting the story thing happen. I've already got colliders set up with it, so I don't have to worry so much about adding in another collider, but I'm going to go here, add component, and we're going to put discover, and here you go, discover quest, network discovery. No, I'm not making a multiplayer game, so forget that. Discover quest target. So now we've got here, this is a discovery quest target script, and this is just basically the target for a discovery quest. But we need to tell it which quest it is that it's actually the target of. So we need to come down here to our quest list data, we need to show quests in the hierarchy like I had before, and then just open it up, and you can see now I can actually select that quest by itself. We come back here to the trigger, on the story trigger and our discover quest target, and we just click and drag that quest that we want, new in town, and we leave this section here blank. We don't actually need to fill this out. This will automatically get filled out when it needs to be. So we leave that now, and so there you go. So that's the quest target. So now it knows that that in order to complete that quest, or the objective for that quest, is this trigger just in here. But what we need to do is we need to actually set up our player with that quest so he can get the quest and then complete it. Otherwise there's no point. So if we run over it now, nothing would happen because the player doesn't have the quest already. It'd complete the quest, but it wouldn't give him any reward or any notice because he didn't have the quest in the first place. So what we need to do now is create a little trigger here to set off I didn't want that in there, I want that here. And I'm just going to reset the component. So now we've got a little blank game object here. I'm actually going to move it forward a little bit, and we're going to call this shoot quest spawn, just so I know what that object is. And we're going to need to add a collider on this. So I'm going to add a box collider. I'm just going to go box collider, and as you can see, yeah, it's got a little bit of a box there, but we're going to edit where that is. I'm going to put it up and out a little, and we put it in there. This way basically the player will start it, and no matter where they move they're going to trigger it off because we want it to happen right away at the start. So now we've got that, that's fine. Now what we need to do is add not discover quest target, trigger, it's a trigger, trigger generic quest accept action. That's a bit of a mouthful, but this is basically the way to give a player a quest when they come across a trigger, and then it will automatically make that their active quest. So say you wanted to have a game where you walked into a room, but that room is a big trap, so the doors will lock behind you, enemies will spawn, and in order to unlock those doors you need to kill those enemies. Well, you don't want to give them the quest from an NPC because that's not going to work. You want them to get the quest once they walk into the room, and then that's their priority then is to kill those things. So you can make that quest of the enemies and kill the enemies to complete the quest, and then you can set up in this menu option here on the action, and then on the quest action itself as well, that it will lock and unlock the doors depending on whether you've killed the enemies or not. What we need to do as well for this one here, we need to set up an auto action because we want it to trigger off automatically. We don't want it to pop up with a thing of do you accept this. It's just automatically you will have it. Disable collision, disable gravity, don't worry about any of that sort of stuff, leave it as it is now. Don't believe we need to do anything on the do action just yet, so I probably should have looked into that, but that's alright. And now we need to set up the quest thing as well, so we click on the quest tab here and we need to tell it what quest. Well, it's this new in town quest, that's fine. One of the other things we need to do as well is actually destroy after. So what will happen is once the thing's triggered off, it's going to give the player the quest automatically, and then it's actually going to destroy this collider, so you can't go back and get the quest again for no reason because you won't be able to finish it. So we don't want that. So on that should be enough to go. So let's just test that out for now. So you see now that we started up, there we go. So we've automatically got the quest that's new in town, it's been updated, and now we've got the little quest on our side thing here telling us what our current quest is. If I hit I can go to the quests file, and then you've got here, so these will be blanked out because there's actually, you're not allowed to decline the quest, and it's already set as the active quest, so that's why that's blank. You can actually, if you want to be able to decline the quest, you can set that up in the attributes thing of like able to cancel quest. So that's in our thing. Don't know why it's not popping up in the description. I'll look into that a little bit later. But for now, if we walk along here, if you keep a close eye on the screen, you'll see, yep, rewarded health potion, 5 XP gained and completed. There we go, continue, and now we can run along. And there we go, that's our quest. And if I run back here, don't believe we'll trigger off anything because it should all be deleted. I'm just going to check in my scene, make sure. Yep, so it's absolutely gone. So that tutorial quest thing is now over. And that's it, that's the basic quest, we've just got that. If I jump back to the game, my XP bar hasn't actually filled up, but that's fine, we'll sort that out. But yeah, for now we can see we've completed a quest. Just going to click on here, now I can't actually do it, but now it's actually popped up with the description as well, which is quite interesting. So that's just a little bit of a bug there. I'll work with the developer on why that's happening. Anyway, I hope that helps you guys with getting the quest system implemented in its basic form. We'll set up the vendors and the leveling stuff in another episode. I just really wanted to finally get this one out here of how to set up a basic quest and get that working. Hopefully I'll be able to get the next episode out a little bit sooner. Again, just jump on the Twitter, sign up there, and I'll keep you guys up to date with any of the latest happenings. Alright guys, thanks for watching.